What's going on, guys? Well, I got my stogie. Let's talk about what happened last week. So, the last post I was saying how I went to DC. Well, here's why I went to DC. First off, let's check out this official binder that I was rocking with. It's SEMA PRI Washington Rally official binder. It don't get no cooler than that. We're official now, you know. So, I went down with a representative of SEMA, Sal, and the owner of OK Four Wheel Drive, Jim. I'm not gonna say their last names. Gonna butcher them both. But we went down there to talk to Cory Booker's office, Senator Kim's office, and Thomas King Jr.'s office. The first two, we had to really talk to them to get them to understand why we support these bills. And I'll put them up here and you can screenshot it and read it yourself. The first one we spoke to them about is the tax certainty for racetracks, S.1763-HR223. And that just helps with racetracks to upkeep for safety, to keep going year by year, because racetracks, they make money, but they just to stay afloat. And by doing this tax stuff, it helps them stay a little longer. And once you start talking about that and how it brings community together and it brings the illegal side of racing, and there's less of a chance, and you bring it to the racetracks where it's safe and controlled, then they start understanding a little more. And how Jersey, like all the old school hot rodders, they all know that back in the day, New Jersey had a lot of small tracks, racetracks, oval tracks, drag strips. But as time goes on, things change. They close up, and they just closed up. So right now, I think there's, off the top of my head, there's Wall Stadium. I forget the name of the motorsports park down in South Jersey. Then you have Englishtown, which still has a few racetracks, not the drag strip, but a few other racetracks. And up in District 7 in my area, you have Island Dragway. So once you start saying about how the safety, and it brings community together, and it helps the community in the long run, they start understanding a little more. And then also with Thomas King Jr.'s office, he was actually at OK Four Wheel Drive. So he actually, his representative and him actually knew Jim when he was running. So they were for it because they understood how it brings money in, it brings community together, it helps safety, it gets rid of the legal aspect of racing that much more. So that was great. The other bill we talked to them about was the Right to Modify Act, the HR 6688. And once again, the first two, they really understand it because they just don't know. And once we started explaining how it's just by going for this act, or this bill, I should say, it helps mom and pop shops, it helps the custom world, it helps more than just like working in your garage. And they didn't know, they didn't get why. So once you start saying how, and I brought up these two stories I had with personal friends of mine, who one owns a tire shop and the other one just bought a brand new truck. And to just change brakes on a brand new Volkswagen, it cost more money because of the ADAS systems that are locked out right now, because you can only do certain things with the computers at the dealership. A mom and pop shop, they can buy these credits or these tokens and all this stuff for one-time use, and that just raises the cost. For just like doing brake pads to reset the computer, and that raises the cost, and that really, it's not good for the small town, the small businesses. And once you start saying how it affects small businesses, and it affects taxes, and it affects money, then they started getting why we need to support this bill. And Thomas King Jr.'s office, since he was at OK Four Wheel Drive a couple years ago, he saw what a small business, not a chain business, brings to New Jersey. How, just for example, all the custom shops in New Jersey still bring in $6.9 billion, not million, billion. And then there's over 24,000 jobs in New Jersey, and how there's $1.02 billion in taxes brought into New Jersey, just like custom stuff. Not talking about the oil change places, just the regular garage mechanic shops. And once you start talking about that, where it's saying by bringing customers back to the small shops, you're helping the community, and you're bringing taxes versus the money going to like the chains or the car dealerships. And even we didn't even talk about the custom stuff, where it's like if we wanted to a brand new 2025 Ford, you want to put a lift kit in it, it's more than just slapping on some control arms. You got to go in the computer, you got to calibrate the ride height and the headlights. And right now, with these brand new vehicles, you're having issues doing that. You have to go to the dealership, and it's just an extra cost, where it's like, that might be the difference of you doing something that you love or not, or just keeping it stock. And even just doing like towing stuff, like upgrading the towing, everything. You have an issue talking to the new ADAS systems and being able to modify the ADAS systems. We're not saying like we're rip them out. We're saying just for a communications process. That's all we're asking for, is just to recalibrate for new things, for bumpers, for towing, for change. If you're a farmer and you go from a pickup bed to a flatbed, that's a whole thing, because they have all those sensors and the ride height, and now the weight is all off, and now the computer won't know what to do. And like putting like a farmer's like those big brush guards for pushing open gates and whatever they need it for. Well, now you have a bumper with sensors. Well, you can't adjust the sensors on some vehicles, so that's another issue. And once you start talking about that, how it's more than just hot rodders, they understood. And once you start saying, you talk to a politician about taxes, then they go, oh, that is a good idea. So once we start saying how much this will affect these jobs, these taxes, the income, then they started agreeing. And yes, there were other bills that SEMA was that is supporting, but being from New Jersey, we felt that these two were the strong ones to talk about. And if we had time to talk about the public land stuff, we did a little bit, but it wasn't perceived well. So by focusing on those two, really helped bring something to the automotive industry for New Jersey. And there wasn't no kickback, there was no fee, there was no negativity involved, which is great. They were like, oh yeah, once you explain it to us, it's a no-brainer. And that was the great thing. So between the three of us, we did such a good job, and it means a lot to me being able to do this, to be involved. And it's cool that like, hey, we're representing New Jersey, and I hope I did you guys proud. So, but that's why I went to DC, and can't wait to see what SEMA has in store down the line. And now I want to finish my stogie and catch you guys later. All right, see you later.